Welcome everybody. I'm going to give you an extra video this week. I've been working on this Willys truck bed, as a lot of you guys know. This truck bed is unique in the sense that it's got pretty much every bodywork challenge that there could be is on this bed somewhere. We've got dents, we've got rips, we've got old welds, we've got cracks, you name it, it's got it. But I want to show you something that I've been working on in the last couple days that I think is going to be a big help, not just for this bed, but probably for the cab and whatever else. You can see I've started to work on this section back here a little bit, and it's going all right. It's just really slow with the hammer and dolly. Then I started taking a closer look at this rail, and there are some dents and dings in here that you cannot get out with a hammer and dolly because there's no back side to it. The dent goes interior to the channel here, so you can't get anything on the back side of it. This dent right here is relatively small, and it's really not worth the effort to try to, for example, drill a hole and then use my body puller tool or try to weld it and pull it. So, of course, the easiest way to fill this dent in is just to clean the metal and prep the metal and put body filler Bondo in there and call it a day. Well, I've been trying to teach myself how to fill in these things with lead, more specifically a 70-30 mix of lead to tin. You can see right there, I've done one already, and it turned out just amazing. So I want to show you how this process actually works, and like I say, I'm in the process of teaching myself how to do it. Now, the good thing about lead, and while it still might be the best option for certain situations, when you're done with the lead filler and you get it all finished the way you want it, it's metal. It's not like a plastic filler or anything. Not that I'm knocking Bondo or anything like that. Bondo certainly has its place. But this lead stuff, when you're done with it, it becomes part of the metal because it itself is metal. So you have a finish that is really unlike anything else that you can use because you're just filling these things with more metal. The problem with lead, of course, is that it's toxic to humans. So you don't want to be breathing in the fumes when you're working with it, when you're melting it. And you certainly don't want to take a DA or some kind of a sander to your piece when you're done to try to get a nice fine finish. Because what that does is it throws just a million microscopic little bits of lead into the atmosphere, into the air around where you are, and on your piece, and on the floor, and on the doorknob when you go out, and on your Farmall Cub and everything else. So the whole area in your shop kind of becomes contaminated with fine lead dust. And that is about the worst thing that you can possibly do, is create lead dust. So we're not going to sand it, and there are other ways to work with this stuff while we're using it to keep us safe. So the first step is to thoroughly clean the area that you're going to work on. So now the entire area is thoroughly clean, and to make it even cleaner, we're going to use some tinning butter. This stuff is kind of like a flux for soldering. I believe it's got like an acid etching component to it, and it's also got a little bit of lead in here. So what you do with this is cover the area quite liberally. And I'm going to go, quite a ways around the area too. So before we get going, I need to prepare the wooden paddle that I'm going to use. This stuff is tallow, acts like a wax. You put some of this on the bottom of your wooden spoon here to work the tint. I'll show you how that works when we get to that point. You just want a thin layer on the bottom of your paddle. If you get too much of this stuff on, it can actually kind of get into the tin when you're working with it. I'm just wetting a rag here for the tinning process. I do have my respirator hanging around my neck. I'm going to put it on in just a minute. I guess I'll have to tell you what we're going to do, and then I won't be able to talk to you while we're doing it. So we've got our tinning butter on our area that we're going to add the lead to. The purpose of that is, again, to clean the area, but more so to actually leave a tinning effect on the metal that we're working with. So when we're done, it's going to be just a light film of lead basically on our piece. And if we don't do this, then the lead won't stick to it. Like if you just do it on any part of random metal, the lead will just bead and run off. So we have to tin the area first. So I'm going to use my torch, and this is just MAPP gas. You could do it with MAPP gas or propane. You do not need an acetylene torch. In fact, these I think are easier to work with because they don't get all that hot. Oxyacetylene, you got to be a little bit careful not to get it too hot, because if you go crazy with this stuff and heat it up too much, you can actually burn the tinning butter and you're going to mess everything up and have to start over. So it's just sort of a medium heat until the butter starts to turn shiny. And then when it starts to turn shiny and bubbly, then you wipe it off, and you do that until you get the whole area wiped off and tinned, and you'll be able to see the difference. So now I'm done with the tinning process. I know the lighting isn't the best here, I'm sorry about that, but I think it's sufficient for you guys to see. Just follow my finger, you can see it on the screen. The line between the tinning and the rest of the metal is here. So this entire section right in there is tinned. So the lead is going to stick to that area now. And we can still see our dent that we're trying to fix and that ding right there. So the next thing we do before this thing cools down all the way is spray some water on it with a little bit of baking soda, diluted in the water, mixed in with the water. And what this does is basically stops the acid in the tinning butter from being acid anymore. It stops it from working. Because if you don't do this step and then you tin over it and there's still some acid in there, you can put a really nice paint job on this, and a few months down the road, you might get rust coming up from underneath. So we're definitely going to do this step. And okay, now that's done. So we've got our paddle ready to go. The paddle is just for sort of shaping it and contouring it once we get the lead on the truck bed. The first step is just to kind of glop it on there. We're just going to try to get lead to stick to it, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. Once we get it to stick, then we're going to go with the paddle and sort of contour it to our piece as much as we can after that. So put the respirator back on, and here we go. All right, we're more or less done with that part. I've got the respirator back off, and I've got a draft moving through the shop through the doorway here, so we're doubly good. So the object of the paddle is not to get it, you know, perfectly contoured and smooth and ready to paint. It's just to get it mostly smooth, or as smooth as you can. Now we're going to let this cool naturally, and then I'll show you the next step. So after the pieces cool down a little bit, we want to use a file to get all the high spots off and get this lead to look somewhat decent and kind of in contour with our piece. So like I said before, we're not going to sand it because we don't want to throw a bunch of fine lead dust into the air. So we're going to use an aggressive type of file, like a Vixen file or a Bastard file or something of that nature, that will remove chunks of the lead rather than dust. I'm waiting on a Vixen file to come in the mail today, but I do have this flat, very aggressive file that I found in my toolbox, and we're going to use this. I think this is going to work fine for this little piece, or at least to start with. You can see the lead comes off in bigger chunks, and it's not hazardous that way. It just falls to the floor and you can sweep it up. I'm just using a light touch with this because I don't want to take too much off and then have to redo this, and I also don't want to scratch our piece around the lead, you know, on the other metal. Yeah, I think the Vixen file is going to work better than the one I've got in my hand here, but you guys can see the idea. You're really taking a lot off at a time, bigger chunks, and trying to get it flat. You can see we're still high there and low right there and there. So you just keep working with it. So I've been working with this file for 5 or 10 minutes, and it's got a backside to it too that's also very coarse. Not anything like that, but it's still coarse enough to take the lead off in chunks. So I've been using this side to work at it and get it closer to the finished product. It would be easier if this piece was flat, but it is what it is. But you can see that we're really starting to narrow in on it. And the beautiful thing about this whole ordeal is that what we're working with now is 100% metal. There is no, you know, plastic filler or anything at all. It's 100% metal in here. Yes, the lead tin mixture is a little bit softer than the steel surrounding it, but it's still metal and it's absolutely bonded to the steel. So it is, you know, it's become part of the bed. So I'm going to work on this another 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll bring you back when we're done. The finished product is not going to be like perfect and finished looking. It's going to be like good enough. And then we're going to hand this off to the paint guy, and he's going to put his epoxy primer on it and whatever the heck else he puts on it. But there's not going to be a dent there anymore. It's going to be all metal. Now you might be thinking that I'm going to break my own rule here with the sander, and I promise you I'm not. I'm going to do just a little bit of wet sanding here. If we keep the material and the sandpaper wet, the lead dust will get trapped in the water, and we wipe it up with a rag and then throw that rag in the garbage can. So I think we're safe if we do that. Just a minimal amount of wet sanding, keep it nice and wet, wipe it off immediately before anything dries, and then throw that rag in the garbage can. Maybe even put that rag inside another little plastic bag and then throw it in the garbage can. Anyway, that's pretty much it. This whole area right in here that we worked on is 100% metal. I don't think I'm going to be using this technique a whole lot on this project, but I probably will be using it several more times on this bed because, like I said before, there's certain dings and dents around that just lend themselves perfectly to some filler metal rather than filler Bondo. If you guys want to try this yourself, do a bunch of research on it first, watch the pros do it, make sure you're safe about it, and I think if I can do it, you can do it. So with that, I'm going to throw a little self-etching primer on here to be done. I hope you guys found this interesting, and I think we'll keep this trick in our back pocket should we need it in the future. Take care, and we'll see you later.